Hi you guys, it's Lisa Joy Young, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do this cool monster eye design. And I'm going to Comic-Con in July to San Diego, the San Diego one, so I think I might wear my makeup like this. It's pretty cool. But before I show you the tutorial, I have to show you the cutest thing in the whole wide world that I got today. I am dying. I am dying. Ta-da! He's my new puppy and he is just perfect. I love him so much. Look at him, he's so mellow and so perfect. I love him. He's an English Golden Retriever and he is my new love. So I had to share him with you guys. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you've already seen him. But okay, on with the tutorial. So to begin this design, I contoured my temples and cheekbones with yellow and green Ben Nye Lumiere eyeshadows, but it all got covered up in the end anyways with the stencils, so it's not really necessary to do this step. Now, using the Kryvaline Lisa Joy Young exclusive Critter Cake, I'm going to do some one stroke on my eyes. So simply use a 3/4 inch flat brush, cut through your eyebrow at a diagonal and go up just a little bit past your eyebrow. You want it to be pretty close to your eye, and make bumps and imperfect lines because this is a monster, so you don't want it to be perfect. And make sure that you keep that blue on the outside and the green on the inside. And then for the very inner corner of your eye, just drag that blue tip down. For the shape of this eye design, it looks more attractive if you have it just right up against your eye in the inner corner and then flaring out towards the outer corner. Now, using Kryvaline Neon Green, I'm going to fill in the parts of my eye that didn't get covered with the split cake and just dab it on for intensity. You'll see coming up that I have orange on my eyelids. I went over that later, so I didn't include it in the tutorial, but take some black on a small sponge, pinch the tip of the sponge to create a half circle kind of shape, and then stamp that onto your eyelids. Make sure that the very top of the arch is around the outer corner of your eyebrow and that it goes in a steep incline towards the inner corner of your eye. That way you look a little more angry. Make sure the color is the most intense on the outside and then fades in towards the center. And here I am covering up the orange. I decided to use black eyeshadow to fill in the inner corners of my eyes. It's just easier for me. I feel like it's more precise application. You could use black Star Blend if you keep that in your kit. For the claws, I used a Low Cornell 3000 series number 6 round and just use teardrop motions, 2 right next to each other. So you're going to press and lift the brush, and then once again press and lift for each claw. Make sure that they're curving and end in a really nice point. To help mimic wrinkles and crinkles around my eyes, I'm using a very dry number 2 brush, and since it's dry, it's going to fade out naturally, not be super obvious, and skip here and there, and that gives it a really realistic look. Add some quick detail to the inner corner of your eye and the shadow on your eye to help give more detail. And now it's time to outline. I'm using a really skinny round brush again and some Kryvaline black, and I'm working with just the very tip of my brush. Remember when to outline, to press your brush and lift like here to give different widths to your lines, but try to keep your lines really thin as this is more of a realistic looking design. And also make sure to wiggle your brush, make sure it's not perfect. And finally, remember to bring your lines in around your claws. That way it'll help to give the illusion that your claws are embedded into the skin there. And just simple little line under the claw helps to mimic a shadow. To help add a little more shadow to the claws, I took some Kryvaline gray and I'm just adding a little bit to the underside of each claw and then to the very base of each claw. And once again, my brush here is very dry. Using a dry, thin number 2 brush, I'm flicking up at the base of the claw to create texture and interest. So just little flicks and then long flicks. And make sure when you do this that the direction of your lines are always going the same direction of your claws. For highlights, I took some white mixed with just a little bit of green, and I made sure my brush was dry again so that it wasn't this dark white highlight. I wanted it to be a softer highlight. And anywhere that light would hit on the design, I put some of this dry paint on. And what's nice about using this technique is it's really hard to mess up because you kind of have to use some effort to put the paint on there since it's so dry. And then using a very dry, skinny brush again, I'm taking black Kryvaline and just shading underneath anywhere where I think there'd be shadows. And like I said before, this is a pretty easy technique to use because it's hard to get the paint on there when it's so dry. And if your shadows are a little too harsh, you can just blend them out with your finger like you saw that I did there. So just in back of the claws, underneath where the skin is supposed to be surrounding the claws, add some shadows. Now I'm taking a dry number 3 brush with some black and adding some little divots and like pock marks in the skin. And since the brush is dry, it has a really nice natural fade from the top of the semicircles I'm making to the bottom. So just kind of wiggle your brush in there. And then put a tiny bit of highlight right at the top of each one, and it gives them a really nice 3D effect. And there you have your scary monster eye. Repeat the same thing on the other side. To do my lips, I just used some neon green and put that in the very center of my lips. And then I patted on some turquoise just around the neon green. The green is pretty sheer, so you really have to pat that on. You cannot brush that color on your lips. Finally, I took dark blue by Kryvaline and put that in the very corners of my lips. And when you press your lips together, it all blends effortlessly in. You don't have to work on blending it at all. And finally, I lined my lips with some black eyeshadow. To complete the design and add some nice detail, I decided to stencil on a reptile skin background using a BAM stencil. And stenciling on backgrounds is a great way to pull designs together and make them look more impressive with just seconds added to your painting time. I'm using dark orange, neon orange, and yellow all on the same sponge. And I'm taking the dark orange from the very edges of my face and then fading into the yellow. And this adds a really nice color variation and gives a really cool airbrushed effect. Just make sure when you use stencils that your paint consistency is very thick and very sticky. If it's not thick and sticky, then it's gonna run and bleed and look horrible. So really work with your paint and make sure you have a nice consistency when you're using stencils. And that completes the look. I really hope that you guys like this and you can use it at an event soon. You can always make it shorter by just doing it on one eye, and it's actually really great for both boys and girls. If you haven't done so already, please check me out on Facebook. The link to that is below in the info box, as well as all the products I used in this video and where you can buy them. Thank you so much for watching.